What is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for the OPTC video, and in today's video we have our good old mate Jimbo, Mr. Jinbe, from the fight against Who's Who, is finally getting a legend, and it is a treasure map legend that will be coming probably in 2 days time. So for me it'll be Saturday, which will be the 10th of the 12th Pacific, Australian Eastern Standard Time. But in-game, it should be about the 9th. So, as you guys can see here, we're getting a Legend Jinbe, V3 Jinbe, and unfortunately, he's not A CEREBRAL. When I saw Jinbe as a Psy icon, I was very, very excited, because I was really hoping that Jinbe was going to be a CEREBRAL character. But, another local sea monster, L. Jinbe is actually a powerhouse fighter. He's a superclass fighter unit. We have another Psy fighter superclass. For whatever reason, we actually do, but in today's video, we're going to break down his kit, we're going to take a look at what he does, and we're going to take a look at the rare recruits that come alongside him. Now, obviously, as a treasure map banner, most people should skip this banner. 90% of the player base should. New Year's is around the corner, so like before I do my should you summon sort of video, I would highly recommend avoiding this banner. The New Year's banner, save your gems, because it's always cooked. Make sure to have as many gems as possible for that. But if you are summoning, best of luck for this particular character. We'll be doing some summons, we'll probably be doing some streaming, so make sure to hit the bell notification so you guys don't miss the streams, and belt the like button, hit that big red subscribe button if you haven't done so already as well. So, as you can see here, 13 turn cooldown with limit break expansion, superclass fighter. He is a Psy fighter powerhouse character, and let's take a look at what he actually does. Huge shout out to my GOAT, Tony. Big ups to Tony for the information provided. He gets it to me pretty early, so big shout out to you, my friend. You are the GOAT. So, Jinbe's Captain ability. Boosts Psy fighter powerhouse characters' attack by 5.4 times when the HP is full, 5 times otherwise. Boosts HP by 1.4 times and reduces damage by 10%. He also applies a nullified damage to crew at the start of the quest. Nullifies damage until the crew is attacked 1 time, plus 1 to number of times of nullified damage if effect is stacked. Now, I'm not 100% sure what that last part means. We'll have to test it when it gets in game. But from what I can see, and what I would assume, is if you are running 2 Jinbes, it will give you a +1. So that way you can actually stack a damage nullify effect. And the reason this is so, prevalent is, like I said, if you're running double Jinbe, you can actually get the effect of both the Jinbes with this. Now, that's to be determined, that's to be continued. But if you guys have any other ideas of what this actually means, let me know in the comment section below. But as a captain, he's pretty stock standard, pretty powerful stuff. Psy, fighter, powerhouse, Psy and powerhouse being very, very good. Fighter getting an extra buff. 5.4 times when you have max HP, by the way, is actually very, very powerful. Being able to damage null as well is actually pretty good too, because this will actually trigger if you enter a room. Say, for example, if we take a look at the Arena Sasaki with the Black Maria stage, if you still have that damage null, which I don't think you would, because Who's Who does a damage cut as well, but if it does stack, you would have that actually. That way you just avoid that massive HP cut that gets inflicted, provided you are running a no-stall team. 5 times base, otherwise is pretty stock standard nowadays. Flat rate of a 5 times captain is a lot of damage. Now 5.4 times with a superclass is a lot. Not only that, but he's fairly tanky. 1.4 times HP is nothing to scoff at. Superclass will obviously increase that with superclass stats, and then reducing damage by 10% is actually very, very nice to keep you around that sort of close to max HP threshold. Downside to his captain, no matching orbs, which honestly to myself is not really that big of a deal nowadays, especially when you're pumping out 5.4 times attack stat. No matching orbs is kind of like, there's other ways to get orbs, like switch abilities and whatnot, but the big thing for me is he has no cooldown. I would have loved to see cooldown on this guy. They've been taking the route of 10% damage taken, reduces 10% damage. I don't know if this is because enemies are just hitting harder and they're trying to make units a little bit more tanky, but for me, I would have just loved to see, and reduces their cooldown by 1 turn at the start of the fight. I think that would have been way more beneficial for this guy, especially because you really don't want to be taking damage with Jinbe, right? You want to be at max HP, so why even have the damage taken by 10%, unless you, you are sort of, healing back. The thing is, though, you don't want to use that nullified damage too early, so the 10% is, literally useless until you get rid of the nullified damage anyway. But nevertheless, very, very strong. He's a Jinbe, he's a powerhouse, he's a fighter. Pretty cool stuff there. So, very good captain ability. And he also has a very interesting special. Fishman Karate Secret Stack Fish. Something, I don't know, something like that. It's got to do with his Fishman Karate. The movie uses on Who's Who, basically. He completely removes all damage reduction. Very, very cool if you actually do some hybrid shenanigans with some fighter powerhouse teams with this guy and Lucci. just completely removing defense up, completely removing damage reduction. Pretty interesting little combination there. Deals 120 times character's attack in non-type damage to all enemies, ignoring defensive effects and defense, which is great wave clearing mechanic. If your HP is full, which obviously he's built around, sets the chain multiplier minimum value at 3.0, maxing at 40 times for 1 turn. If you're not at max HP, it's a 2.5, maxing at 35 times for 1 turn. So very similar to Wano Law, another Psy character that does something similar to this, but obviously has completely different classes. Then you have characters like X-Drake, you have characters like Blackbeard. They are all these very good chain boundary units, and obviously Jinbei is actually another one of them. But the thing with Jinbei is if you already have a chain lock or a lock chain multiplier status, which includes his chain boundary, he then boosts Psy, Fighter, and Powerhouse characters' attack by 2.5 for 1 turn. So this is really, really good, especially if this damage null stacks, because then running 2 Jinbeis is actually very, very beneficial. 5.4 times captain is very powerful. Obviously, for the big damage teams, you're not going to run 2 Jinbeis as your captain, but running your Jinbei on the team, and then running a friend captain Jinbei, and being able to get this chain boundary, as well as getting this attack boost for your team is actually very, very nice. Nevertheless, you don't have to use 2 Jinbeis. Because he's a powerhouse unit, you can run something like X-Drake, like I mentioned. You can run something like Blackbeard, or you can even run something like Smoothie. I think Smoothie needs to be like... Oh no, I think your captain just needs to be powerhouse. So you have a lot of other options for your chain boundary, and then you can literally just use Jinbei as your attack boost. And I really like the flexibility that they've done here. However, it is only for the 3 classes, which still makes a lot of sense. But I really wish that this was maybe 3 turns. Would have made him a little bit nicer. And but otherwise, great utility in terms of damage reduction, great wave clearing mechanics, and chain boundary units are some of my favorite in the entire game. I think they age the best because you can like partner them up with some other really good units. Just looking at like other Psy units that you can run this guy with, you could easily do some shenanigans with like Yamato as a friend captain, then get like a super class, super type, and just run a Psy team. You also have the Snake Man Luffy that came out for the film Red Batch. He can basically be all of your damage, and then you can just use this guy as your chain boundary, and that way you have a very strong 5.5 times captain, you have a very strong 5.4 times captain, and you have a great attack, great orb, and a chain boundary with these 2 guys. Obviously, Jinbei will trigger that effect. Well, actually, I don't think it works. Actually, it's got to be your sailors. I'm pretty sure it's your sailors, but still, great hybrid options there. And not only that, but you can actually use this Jinbei on stuff like Super Tandem Luffy teams. You can run him under stuff like Kaido for some powerhouse shenanigans, and you can do some really cool stuff with Jinbei. So very, very good special. Chain boundary units are always very, very nice to see. As mentioned, though, he is a superclass character, and for his superclass, you basically just need any of the Straw Hats. Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brook. No exceptions, just literally the Straw Hat characters. He reduces all enemies' threshold by 3 turns, heals 20% of the maximum HP, which is very, very nice, actually. Changes crew's type swaps to characters' own types, and reduces damage taken by 50% for 1 turn, then changes all fighters into super type. So, pretty interesting super type, or super class mechanic. The threshold removal is really nice because obviously he has damage reduction, and if you're running 2 Jinbeis as your captains, you can get 6 turns of threshold removal, which is awesome. This is probably going to be pretty prevalent in the treasure map, so be aware of that. And obviously healing, getting him back to yourself back to max HP to get that higher captain multiplier, to get that higher chain boundary is great. And then he fixes that issue that I mentioned of needing an orb manipulator. Changing the crew's type slots to characters and types is nice. It's not as obviously good as like block slot manipulation. However, it is an extra little cherry on top. The reduced damage taken by 50% for 1 turn, I do not understand why that's here. Especially if you have the damage null, right? If you have the damage null and then you stack the damage reduction, like, it literally makes no sense. However, it does mean that it does make this guy insanely more tanky, right? You can literally run like your damage null effect. If this stacks twice, you can go like damage null, just that's an extra 2 turns of stall. You then have 10% damage reduction with his passive in his captain ability, and then literally with this you get another 50%. Like, it's actually pretty nuts how many shots you can take, and then you can heal back your 20% with the next sort of Jinbei, and that way you can sort of get back to max HP to activate this 5.4, which is actually a very, very high multiplier, as well as then getting this 3 to 40 times chain multiplier. So captain ability, great. Special, very, very good. Very, very interesting character. And Jinbei looks very, very, looks like an overall great unit. Now, when it comes to Treasure Map Legends, I will never, ever, ever, never again, after the Carrot Wonder Saga, underestimate a Treasure Map Legend. So, I'm going to go down and say that this Jinbei is very, very good. Because I can almost guarantee, while I'm not blown away by this guy, I think I'm more over shadowing what he really does, because he's not a cerebral character, and I really wanted him to be, just to like help out that local sea monster Grand Voyage. He's not, so it is what it is. He has Shipbind, which is super interesting. Don't see many Shipbind characters nowadays. Don't see much Shipbind content, if I'm honest. And then he has Slotbind as well. His Rumble does Powerhouse class teammates attack up level 6, HP up level 6, and self-defense up level 4. After receiving damage up 5 times, he gives himself level 1 attack. So he can get up to level 5 attack. I'm sorry, this is so small for whatever reason. At level 10 for his special on a 29-second cooldown, he targets enemies within a large horizontal range, which is kind of dookie, for 2.3 times his attack, and then targets Powerhouse teammates with defense up level 5. So, pretty good unit for the Powerhouse team. Powerhouse fighters have a lot of very good options. You have stuff like Ulti, you have stuff like Who's Who, Marco, now this Jinbei, Katakuri 6+. So, like, you could do like a full legend sort of Powerhouse fighter team there and do some really cool stuff. Unfortunately, page 1 is strength-centric, which I don't understand why. But this Jinbei will make a very, very nice addition to that fighter team if you don't have level limit break 5 V1 Jinbei anyway. So, really, really cool unit. I'm super keen to see how he operates, especially in Treasure Map, and super interested to see what the Treasure Map actually entails. Alongside Jinbei, shout out to, this is his support as well. His support goes on any of the Straw Hats, and he reduces damage taken by 3% and adds 15% of base HP to character's support. How much HP does this guy have at max? 5,000. That's a lot of HP. That's without Cotton Candy too, by the way. So, like, if you add the extra, what, 3, is it 180 plus, you're looking at just under 6,000 HP, which is pretty nutso, to be honest. So, pretty interesting character, like I said. Super, super nice. Also, Chopper. This Chopper is actually getting his 6+. That is the next 6+ unit. Super interesting to see that. I'm actually keen because I have mine limit break expanded. Means he's getting a level limit break plus, and mine is well and truly level limit break plus. Very, very keen to see what this guy does, because he's like the king of cotton candy boosting. Even with the new Chopper, other Chopper out, like, this guy could just be absolutely nuts with level limit break. As for Jinbei, shout out to the artworks as well, Tony. We have this Chopper that's coming with Milky, as well as Sanji with the Crucifix Zora. Super interesting. Chopper is going to reduce Crew's special charge by 1 turn, reduces defense up by 5, paralysis and attack down by 5 turns, and if HP is full, boost the chain multiplier by 1.0, if not, heals 30% of the crew's maximum HP. Absolutely insane Treasure Map rare recruit. This is really, really good. It's nice to see that he's on a legend batch, which means you can pick him up on any treasure map. At 12 turns, getting 1 turn of cooldown, and then reducing defense up, paralysis stat. Like, he does a lot. Good damage output, good utility, great fun, like, cooldowns and healing for Jinbei. Really, really cool stuff. As for Sanji, he deals 80 times his attack inside damage to 1 enemy, reduces special bind by 5 turns. If the HP is full, doubles slot effects and type effects of normal effects by Psy characters by 1 turn. He boosts them by 1.75 otherwise. And if a character has a bind status when special is launched, doubles Psy character's attack for 1 turn. So this guy can literally be your attack booster, your orb booster, and your color affinity booster all in 1 turn, which is pretty crazy for what he actually does. It makes sense, obviously, with the whole bind thing with Zoro. I think that's kind of cool that they implemented that. I would like to see some, like, AoE damage, but getting some special bind removals too should be pretty nice. I imagine he will have special bind removal, and I imagine Chopper will have a special reverse removal. You can only hope, right? So that is the treasure map batch with the new 6-star V3 Jinbei. Let me know your thoughts and opinions of Jimbo in the comment section below. While you're down there, don't forget to belt the like button for me if you're new to the channel or you haven't done so already. Hit that big red subscribe button, most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. Please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.